the number one marker was for me was when I more than quadrupled my income. I times it by 5. I was a financial advisor for 5 years, and it just didn't make sense. Plus, I really enjoyed this work, just being a wholesome whore, helping people be kinky. It's nice.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of On The Horizon, a podcast about what's on the horizon for sex workers and how to navigate it.
I'm Melrose Michaels, and you can find me at Melrose Michaels on social and melrosemichaels.com.
And I'm Lotus Lane, and you can find me on all social media at It's Lotus Lane, which is spelled ITSLOTUSLAIN. Also, just a reminder, if you're enjoying the podcast on Apple, to please leave us a 5-star review. That really helps us grow on the podcast and better share the information with our guests on the sex work community as a whole.
This segment of today's episode is sponsored by Sex.com, one of the absolute best content creator platforms out there. It looks better than any other, has a higher level of security than any other, and boasts over 3 million unique visitors a day scrolling through viral looped adult short form videos. Sex.com is like, sex itself. A lot of people do it. Some just do it much, much better than the others. Sex.com. If you're going to do it right.
Well, hello, everyone. I am Lotus Lane, and I'm here with my co-host, Melrose Michaels, and we have our guest today, Naadia, Muse Naadia, my girl, a beautiful goddess supreme, and she's here to talk with us today to debunk the myth that digital creators, online adult creators, aren't making any real money, that we're all just fronting and we're actually really broke behind the scenes. So let's get into it, Naadia, because I really love that we brought you into this topic, especially because people think that you have to have a large following. You have to have millions of followers. You have to go viral in order to actually make any real money in this game. So let's talk about that.
For sure. Well, thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate this. I feel special. And I'm always down for debunking any of what we might as well just say it cishet societal norms and, theories. So I'm excited to be here. And I love telling people that whores are really awesome.
We are. And we're really awesome at making money, right?
Period. Yep.
Yeah. So, not to get all into numbers nitty gritty, but how many followers do you have on social media, and how do you reach out and, gain your fans on your paid subscription platforms to get money?
Sure. Great question. So my number one platform is Twitter. I have a little over 33,000 followers on there. In the beginning, I was gaining 100 followers a day. And since my shadow ban that happened in October of 2020, I gain about maybe 100 followers a month now. So, and I'm making more money than when that shadow ban happened. So that's even more of a testament to numbers really don't matter, or followers don't really matter.
Yeah.
I leverage that, and Instagram is really just for fun and giggles because at this point they don't like any of us. So it's mainly Twitter. And then me just being Albert Einstein, finessing in the DMs and getting to know people. And then if they're, horny and curious, they're going to subscribe. Right. So, I just kind of do my own thing on Twitter and ride that wave.
I love that. I'm curious too. So I guess some of the things that I talk with people about in my own inner circle and real life support system is that when it comes to adult work, they're curious when I switched over to being I guess what they would describe as full-time. I don't know that it's always a full-time 8-hour day job, but what gave you enough comfort financially, I guess, to look at this career and say I could do this and only this potentially? Yeah,
it was the number one marker was for me was when I more than quadrupled my income. I times it by 5. My base salary and commissions that I was having I was a financial advisor for 5 years, and it just didn't make sense. Plus, I really enjoyed this work, just being a wholesome whore, helping people be kinky. It's It's nice.
What do you think there was anything that catapulted that? Or like, what was your path like?
Yeah.
I'm so curious.
Yeah, for sure. So I listened to a podcast called Horrible Decisions in August of, yeah, I love them. Weezy and Mandy are amazing. So I was actually driving down to Mexico with my friend in August. August 24th will actually be my 3-year anniversary, but we were driving down to Mexico. She played a podcast and some lady was talking about cash meets. And I try to get people to save their cash for their own retirement. And you're telling me I could meet someone at an ATM and they just give me the cash? I mean, to this day, I still haven't done a cash meet. And I don't know if I ever will because COVID, and you could just send it. I like bank transfers anyways, so I hate going to the ATM. But yeah, basically what happened is I think that in the beginning, you're new and shiny, right? And everyone is just like, oh, who's that? And I just really kept my foot on the gas pedal because I saw how much I shot myself in the foot in my financial advising career, just not pushing myself every single day, all day. And so basically, when I entered this career and saw how much autonomy it provides, in addition to there's no cap on income and you can work at any time of the day, at night, 365, I was like, this seems a lot more feasible. So it happened slowly. You know, we're talking about replaced my salary. I was like, I'm not going to leave until it's double. I'm not going to leave until it's triple. I'm not going to leave until it's quadruple. And then after I times it by 5, it literally made no sense for me to be allocating my time towards vanilla work. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? I'm a very numbers person, and time management, like an efficiency of my energy. And if 10 to 2 is producing this much income, but 2 to 8 is producing this, then obviously I need to switch things up. So that's kind of how that happened. I'm grateful for that podcast. And yeah, I think, again, me just keeping my foot on the gas pedal and just dropping clips, dropping content every single day, posting on Twitter 3 times a day, engaging with other people's posts every single day, all day, making friends, not being afraid to ask other people who are number one, hey, can we be besties? And also, can you help me? And that's literally how I formed the relationships I have today.
That's so true. I was just going to say that's exactly how you came in, me and Anna, to be friends with us. And I think we had not really even heard of you before then because you were really new. And I think maybe I saw your picture on an AVN something, and Anna was like, hey, this girl wants to hang out. And I was like, oh, I think I saw her and she's cute. Yeah, let's do it. So I really admire that go-getter attitude that you have in you. So it honestly just sounds like you just keep going and going and going and don't stop. And you will get to a point of success eventually.
Yeah, for sure.
It's funny that you say that because I think that a lot of what people don't it's interesting, right? Because at SexWorkCEO, we just did a bunch of surveys of creators to kind of start compiling our own data and figure out what is really working and what isn't working between our own community in a safe community-centered place. And one of the things that was the biggest indicator of success in the industry was your length of time in the industry. So a lot of people will give up too early on and not realize that the things you do are compounding. Every video or clip, that you put out there is almost like a property or an asset that could be a door someone who's a huge tipper, a huge fan could open to finally to meet you and become a fan of yours. So it's interesting that you said that because the data supports that.
100%. There is nothing in this industry. This industry is all about consistency and luck. That's it. We all know this, you know what I mean? In anything really, but really this industry, if you're just consistent and whatever that means for you, it is bound to happen where that one person, you know what I mean, will find you. And I still deal with my whole, I've only been doing this for 3 years. And guys are like, I've been watching you since day one. And I'm like, oh my God, really? And I'm just sitting here well, why don't you say something sooner? Hey. So I that's the stuff that keeps me going, but also, the impact that we get to have in people's lives. So,
I was going to say, speaking of one of the things that Melrose brought up, did you ever have a moment like that where you kind of in the early, you're still fresh, but in the early parts of starting where you were like, maybe I shouldn't do this, or maybe I should just give this all up. This method isn't working. Or was it just you hit that lucky stride and just kept going?
Yeah. There was never a point where I said no to this. And I think the reason is because just the actual concept made a lot more sense to me, right? With financial advising compared to financial domination.
Yeah.
I'm tired of telling people what to do with their money for their own sake, where I could just tell someone a million times to a million different people, and then eventually they'll all give me their money, or at least a few. But I think for me, what the main thing was just, again, the capacity, right? And it wasn't worth me, I don't know, necessarily like sacrificing like late nights up. Is this right? Is this the right decision? It just felt right. You know what I mean? And I didn't get my first tribute until my third month, and it was $35, you guys. So
girl,
I stuck with this.
I love
you know
you.
What I mean? I stuck with this, and I felt so proud of that $35. Yeah, for real. It took a long time, and I think it took me 9 months to start getting to like $3,000 a month. You know what I mean? Now we're laughing at those numbers, but I had to face, you know what I mean? I had to deal with those. So I didn't come out the gate really making a lot of money, but again, consistency and luck. So
something that you said, two things that you said really stand out to me. And I think it's really interesting because especially in the realm of like financial domination, people hear that, like regular civilian people will hear that and think like, oh, you're just making some guy give you all his money. Like it's this torturous, thing. But actually financial advising and financial domination probably have a lot of overlap. Yeah. Can you speak to that?
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, the thing is with money, right? What do we all get up to do every single day? We get up to go and make money. That is the number one thing. And I probably will say one of the most powerful controlling forces in all of our lives. And so it's just, I don't know, people are so interesting, right? And I think that the reason that we all have these preconceived notions of like, oh, you're taking it from someone so innocent, they're not an adult, they're a child, and they have mommy and daddy's credit card and they're running it up. It's like, no, this is a grown, what was her, CR Lynch? I just watched one of her podcasts or workshops, and she did PRIC, which is personal responsibility. I forget what I stands for, and then consensual, and then, you know what I mean, kink. So it's like, these are grown adults who are making decisions for themselves. And just as people see someone's kink of wanting to be tied up, right, or wanting to do water sports, whatever it is, I see it in the same exact way. So I'm not going to kink shame anyone. And if someone wants to sit there and have a preconceived notion of, oh, she's doing the worst thing ever, I don't entertain it. I don't think anything of it. And I think it's honestly comical that someone else thinks that someone else is in issue or in peril because they're sending money to another individual willingly. And I've never shown remorse to any of the guys. I don't do that. I'm just very much so, you know what you came for. I'm going to take as much as I can and then leave you for the streets.
Right, you stay consistent.
Yeah, 100%.
I love that.
With any of your clients, do you ever put them on like budgets and finance, like spending allowances? Like, because that's something I've heard from a lot of people in that line of work too, which I feel like that aligns very much with the financial advising background.
Yep, I sure do. Everything. Like, I feel like almost like a semi-accountant at times. But yes, I do have them on a budget. Specific people who are just very, very into being money slaves. Because I don't like the idea of their credit cards or they're being racked up and their credit score is taking a nosedive. Like, that's not what we're here to do, because that's not a safe practice. So I am much so like aware of a certain person's, like, if you're a whale, you know what I mean? I don't care. But if you're someone who's working at like a grocery store, you know what I mean? Like a very like 9-to-5 job, or even just, I'm not going to sit there and expect $5,000 out of you every single month. And if you do that and it's your bonuses or your tax return, we're not sending for at least 3 months. You know what I mean? Like, we need to recoup, pay off your credit cards, because that's not healthy long-term for any of us.
I really, really love that you say this, because, I have seen opposite things be said by some other financial dominatrixes online. And I think that's where the thought comes from that Melrose was talking about, that this is really torturous and it's really insidious exchange. But I love that you give this different perspective on it, that you're really responsible in your taking of the asset.
Yeah.
And I think that really goes to speak to how like awesome you are as a person, but just like probably why you are so successful as well, you know?
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's a nice compliment.
I mean, you can be as ruthless as you are, but still have a moral compass surrounding what you're doing. And I really like hearing that, because I think that that's what worries people with this kink. You know, what's the major concern?
Right. Definitely. And I'm grateful that I've been able to find that balance, because most don't. And again, they have that burnout, or they end up actually, hurting people, you know what I mean, in the process. Like, there is another person on the other end, you know what I mean? And there's forms of aftercare. There's, you know what I mean, actually becoming friends with some of these people. You know what I mean? It's like, at the end of the day, I picture, even as I'm getting more into Twitch, like they're just supporting their favorite e-girl who's mean. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I think about it. And if they're really into kinks and that's sessioning, that's like the dominatrix side. But Findom's really just like, they want to pay a mean e-girl who has her ish together. And, that's all of us. And they just want to support us and be told that they're, a kinky little freak. So
I love that.
It's not ruthless. This industry is amazing, and I wish more women were in it.
Right.
Yeah. You said something else too that stood out to me, just from like a business perspective. Like, when you were getting into this, you're like, I'm not quitting till I double my income. I'm not quitting till I triple my income. I'm not quitting till I quadruple my income. I think that is a very gray area for a lot of, especially new creators, where they're like really eager. They see money maybe happen up front with like an OnlyFans boom, or like their first time on webcam, they get the new model tag, they take off, they make a bunch of money, but then they like quit their main gig too soon, or they don't have, because people underestimate the amount of self-discipline it takes to work for yourself, for one. And also they overestimate the pitfalls and how low and how hard it can be at times. Because there's like, you have your $1,000 cam days, you have your $3 cam days. And sometimes those were 8 hours and the $1,000 was 1 hour. So I feel like people can almost, they jump in without thinking through like a proper business plan or a proper projection of what things could really look like on the landscape. So I love that you said you waited till you quadrupled your income and you quit when it didn't make sense anymore. And I was wondering if, like, how did you know to do that? Is it just because of your background, financial advisor, or is it a sense of security for you?
Yeah, it definitely, the financial advising helped a little, but honestly, like in college, I always had like 3 jobs. I was always either in class or at work. So I just have like incredible like time management skills, and I'm very, very, very high detail on like the efficiency of my time management skills. And so I think for sure I had to wait till it was 3 months consistently of that double, of that triple, of that quadruple. And then when I finally hit 5, and then my business partner pissed me off one day, I was like, man, fuck this. And then like, I was like, I'm done. And he was like, wait, what? And I was like, I'm done. He's like, I did not even see this coming. I was like, I know. But it felt so good. And it came from a place of empowerment and like confidence. And again, it just, there is no, I don't really know how to explain it. Again, it's that consistency and luck. Right. I just consistently came in, kept my foot on the gas pedal, doing the 3 every day, the posting, the clips, and I actually didn't even get into clips until like a year in almost. But
I would want to know how did you, as a smaller creator, when you first started, gain attention, especially if you weren't clip making?
Yeah. So when I first started the industry, I found all the girls who, in my eyes, I thought, now I know, but I'm like, all the girls that I thought were making the most money in this industry or had like the cutest aesthetics. And I was like, oh, I'm going to follow. And I just watched. I watched for a couple of months, and I was like, I can do this.
You did your research.
Yeah, I did. And then by the end of it, it was honestly, it was a done deal. Like, there aren't many Black females who do dominatrix work online and Findom. And even if they do, you have to be set apart by doing all the different things, right? Clip stores, the fan sites, the, talking on Twitter, whatever, like doing all those different layers. And then I don't know, there's only like maybe 3 or 4 or 5 of us that I can like name off that are like either consistently in this or like just kind of do it part-time, right? Because they have other things that they're more focused on. And so for me to come in as a new shiny Black dominatrix, I think that's what really helped. But also the censorship wasn't as bad back then. So I was, using groups, the engagement groups, the tags, hashtags. I was doing all the cringy like tweets. You know what I mean? But then I'm glad I had that because it helped me get found. And then, I think I got shadow banned around 22,000 followers. So it's just been like scraping. But again, I don't even think that really mattered either, because if you're producing the content on these platforms and they have a feed, you will be found. So it's not even about Twitter or Instagram followers, honestly, or even your followers on the fan sites. It's about like who's paying and clicking subscribe.
Yeah, true. That's true. You can have a 1,000 fans that aren't tipping, or you can have 100 that are always
That
tipping.
part. Exactly. Like I've never, ever, ever, you guys had over on any of my subscription sites, I've never had over maybe 12 subscribers at a time, ever. But I've
Now
never
that
gone
is
below
interesting.
$25 a month. Yeah, my monthly subscription's at 30 now, and I will never go below that. But like, cause it's like $1 a day, you know what I mean? And I just feel like as a like even my vanilla friends come across it and they're like, you know what I mean? They're not gonna like, ooh, a curiosity, what she got on there. You know what I mean? It's like you know what you get when you're coming in here.
Yeah, it's a real investment.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Lotus. I like that.
I love that. I think too, something that's interesting, because like I hear this, it goes back and forth, right? Because we get like the media attention that's like, you know, Instagram model starts OnlyFans, makes $1 million in a day. And then we have like the flip side where it's like, if you really look at it at scale, a lot of people who sign up for something like OnlyFans never even do anything with it. So like, you know, they sign up, they think about it, they don't. And a lot of those profiles I feel like just sit empty anyways, because we had like such a huge boom with OnlyFans. And like, I say that, but that's cyclical and resemblance of all platforms and all things at their, you know, high peak times in the industry. But I think that this myth of like majority of creators don't make money, I think it's what people lose about that argument is that it's so relative. Like if a creator is only making $3,000 a month on like OnlyFans, and I say only loosely because again, relative, that could still be replacing their full-time income on what they take home. So like,
exactly.
Isn't that enough of a success where you, not only is your income matched and you're able to have your, you know, you don't have to clock in and clock out for someone and you're working for yourself at maybe the same pay rate, but now you have time freedom. Now you have autonomy. Now you have all these other, you know, levers you can pull to do things with. And I think that people don't account for that piece of it when they say like, oh, creators don't even make that much money. It's like not everyone has to make $1 million to be financially safe or secure.
Yes.
Very true.
I think I see them looking at like the viral people that go viral because of OnlyFans or something. And then they compare the rest of the group to that. And they're like, well, this isn't being achieved, so they must not be as successful as we thought. Ha 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 ha, whores. Which is just like one of those things where they always want to go back and like laugh at us, tell us, ha, see, we told you so, it's not working. But I love that we have people that exist like Naadia that debunk that type of shit every day.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it goes back to like, again, most of the time, I think it's cishet men, but you know, majority of society placing a value on the type of dollar you're earning, like that dollar's dirty, that dollar's not. And then also people just not being accepting, I think, of just all backgrounds, period. You know what I mean? Whether it's work, race, religion, sexuality, gender, identity, like all of that. It's just, and then when they do the comparison, sure, but people always forget, like you had mentioned, is that perspective, right? And then on top of that, they think that probably their 3,000 of earnings is more justified because they're, you know, working on a farm versus her because she's in her room in front of a ring light. So again, the dollar, it's the dirtier the dollar, the less value it is. Yet I'm pretty sure that dollar can still buy me a soda at the same vending machine you're going to.
Yeah, 100%.
So
and I cam on my farm, so hey.
Hey.
Yeah, that sounds so fun. Hair flip, period.
Right?
That's funny. I want to ask too, what do you think differentiates a top earning creator or a lower earning creator in your eyes? Like, do you think like a defining factor is consistency, which I feel like you alluded to, or like self-discipline, or is there character traits that stand out in your eyes?
For sure. I would say maybe like 2 or 3 to be very just like concise. The consistency for sure. Like there's nothing that anyone could ever tell me that consistency cannot be, whether that's your health, your mental health, like life, relationships, money, anything.
I love that.
You can apply that consistency thing to anything. 2, I would say, is definitely self-motivation, initiative taking. Like you have to be disciplined. If you do not have that, you will fail because you're your only competition. You have to be looking at yourself and only yourself. It's cool to have inspiration, but that could also be daunting when you try to compare, certain timelines and like, how I am with numbers. Like, she did that on that date by her 6th year, then by my 6th year I should have, I'm like, stop, like breaking on the numbers. And then 3 is like, honestly, loving what you do. Like, if you don't love this, you will stop. Like, I genuinely love calling, like, specifically, like, men losers and taking their money because I guess the 4th thing, you have to have confidence. Like,
true.
Because the girls who come into this who are like, oh my God, I'm so insecure. Like, I'll send you your money back, or you know what I mean? Or send me, I can't, it's cringe, you know what I mean? And it's giving more so like I'm desperate and need money rather than like I'm hot and luxe and you need to give me your money because it's better in my hands, right? It's about how you say it, how you do it. And so I think that those 4, you'll be straight. And I think that honestly applies to everything in life too.
You're not lying. Yeah. I mean, life lessons from a young one. You're not wrong. When you said the consistency and how you said that that's number 1 and that beats out over anything, the funniest thing came to my mind. There's an IG account that's like shows all the Vogue videos from like the Vogue dancing. And there's this really funny, who is now like iconic dancer, Josephine, I think. She's not the greatest dancer at voguing, but like she always shows up and she always just dances and she does not give a fuck. And you could tell she's not insecure. She doesn't judge herself, even though like nothing fits the standard of what you would think. And like now she's like my favorite video that gets shared on there on that Instagram account. And so I totally get what you're saying. Consistency, her confidence, her not giving up, her still coming in, doing the same thing, regardless of the looks and faces that people are giving. Now I'm like a number 1 fan of hers. I love like seeing her videos. So I get that. And I can see how that can apply. And I wish more creators that may feel like they're in the struggle would realize that, because it doesn't come down to your looks or your aesthetic or those kinds of things, because that will attract different people at different levels, whoever they are, different parts of the world, different parts of the country. But when you're consistent and you give them something of your character, we're a character, we're a business, you can't go to Target one day and then Target's closed the next day. Like, we love Target because it's always there.
Yeah.
Count on it.
No, that's a very good analogy right there. Yeah, if Target decided to like act different someday, it'd be a problem.
When it starts acting funny, then we're like, okay, I need to go somewhere else.
Yeah, and you know what? Target always takes my money, so it's like,
right. Yeah, right.
What you said too, Lotus, and what you said, Naadia, about confidence too. Like I just had this conversation with a friend because I was like, it doesn't matter what you look like. Like everyone's attracted to whatever they're attracted to. But if you come in the room with just fucking straight confidence, you are the sexiest person in the room. Always. Yes. Like it never fails.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
It's like the movie I Feel Pretty. Hell yeah, exactly. She literally hit her head and thought she was like, oh my God, the way she was like, look at these abs. I was like, yo, I need to rewatch this like at least once a year to just be like,
yeah, it's really funny. Yeah, but yeah, it definitely makes a difference. And I think even fans can sense the desperation in the ask or in the air, so yeah.
They say that in business too, because I'm like obsessing right now. I've gone down the rabbit hole like the last 4 or 5 weeks with like financial and business negotiation tactics, like how to negotiate your value and things like that. And one of the things was like, if you come to the table not willing to walk away with nothing, like in having that kind of energy and like that confidence in the negotiating process, you'll lose because you can feel that you need something from this exchange. But if you come willing to walk away, you win because they know that you don't need it. And that really stuck with me.
It's so true. I remember making kind of those mistakes in the beginning, and the responses I got from fans weren't as favorable. And then I remember once I kind of like flipped it and I was like, why do they like you, Lotus? Because you're a semi-bitch. Like, and I put the bitch mode into it and stopped trying to people please as much. I was like, oh, he didn't even cuss me out. And I just totally told him off. I love this. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
100%. People can definitely sense inauthenticity, honestly. And they can tell when you're not being genuine or like, because then it's not consistent either, right? It's like, okay, she's someone else completely right now.
Yeah.
It's something that you said earlier, Lotus, about the, like, one thing it made me think of this thought. One thing I've always appreciated about just kind of like how when I see other girls who are like doing way better than me, first off, I always look at how long they've been doing it. And I'm like, okay, shit, she's been doing a double, triple, four times as long as I've been here. And then I always go and look at their repertoire of like content. And then I'm always shook because they have double, maybe even times 4 the amount of content that I have out, and they post at double the rate I do. And I'm like, okay, no wonder you're making a lot of money. So then guess what I'm doing? Making besties with them in the DMs. And next thing you know, they're like, we're just like genuine friends trying to support each other, and then seeing them, get pushing themselves more and more and more, even after being here for 7, 15 plus years, it makes me want to work harder. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I know they make a lot of money. And again, like these girls are like, there's one that's like super Barbie looking and the other one's very girl next door. The other one's much older. It literally shows me that there is no reason where, again, with consistency and luck, I cannot be just as successful as them. If anything more, right? Like the sky's the limit.
Yes. There is no limit, like you said, to our industry. And that's the best thing about it.
You had said earlier, Naadia, too, about like how you kept your foot on the gas pedal. And I spoke to a smaller creator recently in our Twitter space. And one of the things that they asked me was like, how do you stay motivated? How do you stay inspired? And my response is, because I feel like very much I relate to you with the way you're like, go, 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 put your foot on the gas pedal, because that's like, what's my life. But I told her, and my reply was like, I do it anyway. Like I do it when I don't feel like doing it. I do it despite my emotions are not part of the equation. I do the work, and there's no variation or deviation from that, because when I do the work, I get to cross it off my list, and that inspires me and that motivates me to keep going.
You are so right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Is that what you would say too? I was curious.
Yeah, I think the instant gratification of like completing something and checking off my list is definitely something that I love. Will I say it's my motivating factor or force? No, honestly, money and my mom are. I fear every single day, like, and my mom is like 62, so she's gonna be just fine. But I'm like, if she's not here, I don't know what I'm working for. But literally, that's like my motivation is money, because I love money. That's why I entered finance background in the beginning. But also just my mom. So for me, I know she's waking up every single day, and we've texted every single day and night since 2011, my first year in college. So it's a constant reminder of like why I'm doing this and how quickly I need to do this. And so I can continue to provide the life that she has right now, which is basically semi-retired. She just likes to work, but I take care of all of her lifestyle expenses. And my goal next is to like buy her home and then like do her whatever she wants with that. You know what I mean? But one step at a time. I'm not even at the 3rd year mark, but that's my motivating force, is finding something that gets you going, right? People are like, oh, it's my family, my kids, whatever. But for me, it's really just my mom and my love of money, which is not in a narcissistic way. I mean that wholeheartedly. Like, I love money. I want to end world hunger. Like, I know that sounds so crazy, but like, I just want wealth, right? And security, because I didn't have that growing up. So
yeah, no, I can relate to that. I think when you say like the love of money, I maybe don't associate the work that I'm doing. I think I associate getting the work done, or like making the clip or making the thing with money, because that's what it comes, but that's the task at hand. So I focus more on the task more than the outcome, maybe. Like, I think we frame it differently, but that's really interesting to hear.
Maybe I should think about it like that, because
I was like, maybe I should think about it like money.
I was just going to say, maybe the people that are having a hard time getting motivated should think of it the opposite.
That part.
Don't think of the task, think of the outcome, because that is the motivation. Because that, when I am super like, oh, I don't want to fucking do this, I'm just like, no. Look at yourself, girl. You have limited time. Like, I always think you have limited time, as in like, you don't know if you're going to like go outside and like get hit by a car and then it's over and then you can't make clips and then you're like stuck. GoFundMe, help, So I always try and think of like, no, you're healthy. You're good right now. Let's do it right now. Especially because I'm like aging. I'm like, maybe tomorrow my knee might hurt. So let me do this right now.
Yeah. One person I've been really following hardcore on lately, we don't even have any similarities at all, but it's just Amaranth, just seeing how hard and consistent. I'm obsessed with her. But
do you watch her Vice doc?
Oh, I watch everything that girl does. I'm subscribed to her Twitch. I watch every single stream. She's amazing. You know what I mean? Again, another one of those individuals that like she might be a little bit harder to reach out to and become besties with. I have 100% success rate so far of everyone that I'm like just reaching out to, minus Rihanna. But, you know, like Amaranth, it's just another person for me to be inspired by, right? Another, like someone making over 18 million a year. That's like ungodly, unheard of off of like OnlyFans, just one site. That's another motivation for all of us. That's another inspiration for all of us, right? To get going, that there is no ceiling to this freaking industry and you just have to work hard. Yeah. So.
Oh, I love that. I've been obsessed with her too, actually. And I think it's interesting too. I loved her Vice documentary specifically because it showed how much work went into what she's built. Like she's pulling like 12, 14-hour streams. Like
yes, every day.
Stream. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's like live on camp for that many
that's
hours
like time intensive work. And then she still does she still does photo shoots and she
came from a very huge cosplay YouTuber Instagram background. So same thing what you were saying earlier, right? Instagram person or whatever, you know, creates their first only, so it's definitely how so it's a different route, but it still does not, at the end of the day, it's the consistency and the amount of fucking content that girl's pushing out is just what the hell. So you definitely need a team, though. That's one thing I would say is like, if any of us want to scale or get bigger, you definitely need a team, at least one like assistant or something.
Oh, for sure. I was talking to someone about that today where it was like, I was thinking about putting a media team because I feel like I make so much content between even like mainstream stuff like podcasts and clips and reels and all this stuff, but it's not getting repurposed and utilized on alternate platforms in a useful way. Like so much is getting wasted. Like every podcast could be transcribed, could be a blog post. Everything, you know, like
that kind of
it should
stuff,
have this kind of funnel. And I was like, how do I build a team to do that? How many people would it take? How expensive would that be?
Yeah.
That's the next step.
Yeah.
For sure.
I love this. I feel like I learned a lot. This was amazing, Naadia. I'm so grateful.
I feel really motivated. Thank you, guys. I'm so motivated after this.
I do too. And I hope people that are listening feel remotivated too, because there's not like one magic little trick that you can do that can uptick your earnings or can uptick your amount of subscribers. It really comes down to you and what you're willing to put into your own self and your own business.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are searching for like a magic, like a secret, like like a traffic source or a secret that they didn't know.
What was the secret website you went to get all of your followers, to get all the whales? It's like, you just be yourself.
Lord Jesus, if that was it, I'd be on that site and nowhere else.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
All of us would be.
Yeah. I think there's a lot to be said for testing things. Like, test it. Did it work? No. Okay, don't do it again. Do something else. And then I think that's what you do. You just filter through like, okay, that used to work. Now it doesn't work anymore. Now I got to find something else. And
and I really love that there's no shame in the fact that we're still looking at other creators and getting inspiration from them and taking notes and researching that. I think sometimes people think like once you're in the game, like, okay, I just got to do what I do now and not look at what anyone else does. But it's not a comparing thing, like you said, Naadia. It's more of like researching how you can implement some of the things that are successful for others into how you do your business and run your online goals.
Yeah, there's plenty of money to go around in the world, and I want all the women in the world to have it all. So
we need to reallocate us.
Yeah,
and you need to let us know if Rihanna writes back.
Definitely.
I will. Oh, God. I've been talking to her in the DMs for years. It'll never happen, but I'm just going to hold on tight. And that's why I want to get into the vanilla world somehow, somewhere, like makeup, fashion, something. Can I be a model for Rihanna?
Yes, I know. I have faith that you can make something like that happen.
Yeah. Oh, that would be so cool to be like a sex worker dominatrix walking in the Savage Fenty fashion show. That would be dope.
I feel like she would do something like that.
Yep.
Come on, get it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
100%. Oh, well,
you guys are the best.
Yeah, this was amazing. I'm stoked. You make me want to work, and I was not feeling it like an hour ago. I was like, I'm tired.
I know,
today.
seriously, like after this, I'm like, do I have time to make a quick like couple of clips? I think I might. Makeup and hair is looking good.
Right. Exactly.
100%. Well, where can people find you on social and your sites?
Yeah. So my website is themusenaadia.com. That's where you can find basically anything and everything about me. But my Twitter is Muse_Naadia. My Instagram is the Muse Naadia, and I really want to start plugging my Twitch more because I want to become an affiliate already.
Girl,
so my Twitch is Muse Naadia. But yeah, those are my main ones, and yeah,
Well,
I'm nice.
Subscribe.
I promise.
Go subscribe and give her your money, guys.
Yes, you must. It's a direct order.
So you guys got this.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Muse. Thank you so much,
Naadia.
Who misses free and affordable ads without the anti-sex work rhetoric? Assembly 4 is a team of sex workers and technologists from Melbourne, Australia, aiming to bring back free and fair advertising to the sex work community. They also give back to organizations based in harm reduction, sex work, and education. Stepping away from the clunky design of traditional platforms, their platform, Tris.link, is a refreshing and well-needed change in both presentation and mission. It's free to join and open to all. In the words of an A4 user, from the policies to the language to the advice and tips, it makes such a big difference to feel supported and encouraged instead of policed.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of On the Horizon, a podcast about what's on the horizon for sex workers and how to navigate it.
I'm Melrose Michaels, and you can find me at Melrose Michaels on social and melrosemichaels.com.
And I'm Lotus Lane, and you can find me on all social media at It's Lotus Lane, which is spelled ITSLOTUSLAIN.